Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, hit that like button and subscribe. Can't thank you enough. We've absolutely blown up subscribers recently. You are just absolutely flocking here, so welcome to you all. You're all legends in my book. And today what we're doing is we're going to look at 5 players I think could be trade options for sides. Some you know about, some I've thrown in a few curveballs just in list management and talent acquisition. We're going to run a little bit of highlights, learn a bit about the players, talk a little bit about the value of them and the reasons why I think they could be options to be traded out by that club, but also the reasons why you might want to trade them in and try and mirror that model of trying to find some talent that you may or may not have on your list. So make sure you hit the like button, give it a like, and get in the comments and we'll have a little bit of a chat. Do you tell me someone that you may be looking at your club that we could maybe discuss on a later show? So let's get straight into it. The first guy we're going to talk about has been heavily talked about. You may have seen me pop up on other fan channels. I've talked about Alex Davies quite a bit. 22 years old, bustling midfielder, 32 games. And you can see why a few clubs are after Alex Davies. And the reason being here, this guy just can't get in to the team up at Gold Coast Suns. Obviously behind some really, really good footballers, it has to be said. But this guy here is really that wonderful type footballer that you really do look at when you are looking at maybe something a team has missed. There's been a good couple of years being put into him. And at the Suns Academy in his junior year, he really did showcase that inside-out flair, quite tough. He's got a good little turn of pace as well when he does break the line and looks to hit targets and looks to find space. He's not shy of defending. He's not shy of being the man that sets up attack. His VFL form this year has been pretty good as well. If you want to check it out, go and watch the Gold Coast versus Williamstown game. He had over 30 touches and kicked to goal, really showcased that ability to get in and under, but then set up the attack. He was incredibly good as well against Carlton last year as well, it has to be said. But he's been quite solid in the VFL. When he's come into the seniors, he's kind of showcased it about that 15-touch mark. He really does link up well. He moves pretty well. And at only 22, he's one of them options I think that a bit of development's been gone in there. You look at who he's behind there, Tuck Miller, Matt Rowell, Noah Anderson, players of that ilk. They're very good footballers. So I think there's something there with Alex. And I've linked him to Geelong, which we know about, Collingwood, which was one of my suggestions a couple of weeks ago before this hit the news. But Adelaide, I feel like, do need this type of player. So he suits their age profile, their kind of list profile as well. I think he'd be a third. I don't think they'll ask for a lot. And this could be a really intriguing one to watch because he is one of them non-free agents this year. So I'm a big fan of Alex, and I think he'll be one to really watch. Up next, we've got Wade Dirksen. Now, this might surprise people, but probably a late third, early fourth. You're probably not going to ask a lot for Wade. And I think there's a few teams that are looking for key forwards, and it's going to be really interesting in which avenue they go, per se. 23 years old, he was a mid-season recruit in 2022. He hasn't really got going, but he's ready-bodied. He's ready-made as well, do you know what I mean? He's big-bodied, he's ready to go. And his form in the VFL has been quite exceptional, particularly this year. His back-end form has been really, really solid. And the wonderful thing about Wade as well is he has pinch hit in the ruck early doors in his career, but been more used as that key position player and has spent time down the back. And this could be one of them untapped finds where a lot of clubs go. And I've linked him with Richmond and Melbourne here. That would suit, especially what Melbourne have done with the key forwards, trying to find a mistake. But with Richmond, you've got Tom Lynch there for another year. And I think he's a real solid little customer. Watched him quite a bit in the VFL. He uses his body well. He's quite an intuitive type player as well. He brings it down to the smalls. He's got really good mobility, but he is really, really strong. And he does look AFL made. And you look at what GWS have done. Who's he behind? Jesse Hogan, Aaron Cadman, players of that ilk. It makes sense that he's not playing. I think it's one of them questions that you go up to Wade and you go, look, do you want to be a forward as a depth player, or do you want an opportunity to break in? And particularly Melbourne, I think he would really relish playing with Jacob van Ruin, and it is a cut price option. He's definitely one that I would be watching, and I'm a big fan of him as well. He's got just a little bit about him, a little bit of scope for improvement. So Wade Dirksen is up next. The next one, Lachyjack, and this is going to be a real fascinating one because at the moment, no rumour mill really has him. It's more of a fan-led thing. But the 12 games, 23 years old, key defender, incredibly mobile, a great interceptor, a good reader of the play. He's got good physicality as well. He has shown little bits and pieces, particularly in the VFL. He's been really, really strong. And this is one of them things that really where GWS probably want to acquire picks themselves to just rejuvenate our list. A few list spots there and just bring in that next core, which is what GWS do really well. But these players are really rare as rocket horse poo. And he's coming into that era now where I think teams are going to have to start doing what Geelong do, which surprises me teams don't do. And that is looking at someone that has had the time put into them. And then you come in and you go, right, okay, we can fix this guy. We can finish this guy off. So it's going to be a real interesting case. I've linked him to North. I've linked him to Eagles. I've linked him to St Kilda, the losing battle and SCO. I've linked him to Sydney. I think Sydney might look at him and say, Crosstown, mate, come here. I've linked him to my boys, Carlton. And I think that all of these sides here, all 5 of them, can really offer that uncertainty that League's got in his career at 23. Harrison Himmelberg has signed on. You've got Sam Taylor there. You probably ain't getting in unless you're going to get in as the third. It's probably going to be a longevity thing as well. The sands of time are passing you by. Do you come in? I think he's a key second here. You may even be able to milk a little bit more with like a future pick coming back, which is often the case with these guys under 25. But I think Lachyjack is definitely one to watch and one that slots in to most AFL systems. He's got that real uncanny knack as well of really attacking the ball hard, which is really, really exciting to see. So Leak, he's definitely on this list of one that I'm waiting for that story to develop. And I think he's one of them players that you look at. This one breaks my heart, right? This one breaks my heart. Now, the reason that Carlton may sell him, the only reason I can give you is maybe they're looking at draft picks and they're looking at players that I don't think Voss really fancies. And what I mean by that is Matt Kennedy is probably the most moved player at Carlton Football Club. I think he's good enough to start permanently in the midfield. And this may be one of them Will Setterfield situations from Matt Kennedy's situation of if a club comes and offers me full-time mid-minutes where I'm not 1 minute playing forward, played half-back, played on the ball, or played key forward, he may be thinking, you know what, if there is an opportunity there to seek an opportunity to play my full-time position, it could be one. Now, I'm a huge fan, and I would be utilising Matt Kennedy a lot more than I think Carlton do. 27 years old, can play mid, can play forward. There is something there that I feel like he could be better utilised at Carlton, and it could be one of them situations where Jack Carroll has been pandered around. Maybe he hasn't got that kind of draft value that Carlton are looking for, the trade value, and it could be one of them situations where another side goes, well, you know what, hang about, we could really utilise this guy. I've linked him to Adelaide. I think Adelaide definitely need that big-bodied mid, someone that can really complement what they do, particularly with the fact that he's kicked 16 goals, albeit 8 of them are from the forward half of the ground when he's been playing there. Do you think there's something there that you could add a little dynamicness? Essendon, I think, would be interested. North Melbourne, definitely. Eagles, definitely. And St Kilda, I could really see it. This is one that I hate to put on there, but I wouldn't be doing my job properly of what I do as a list manager. And I think this would be a real hot target for me where the second round picks, you're probably finding some good depth. So Carlton could use that. And this is again like the last guy we talked about, Lachyjack. You could see like a future coming back here or something that could really sweeten the deal. But he's definitely a player that if I was another list manager, I'd be like, these are rare to find. He's still got a lot of footy ahead, very clean injury list. Just get him in. Like I'm surprised more clubs outlink him because I think Matt Kennedy is one of my favourite footballers at Carlton. Up next and finishing, Luke Parker. We talked about goal-kicking mids on the show a couple of weeks ago, well, last week. And Luke Parker, for me, is a player here at 32 mid-forward. You're going to get that premiership experience. You're going to get that really good, solid effort and intensity from him. He's been in and out of the side, quite rightly so as well. At Sydney, they've got a very young list. When they have played him, they've played him in that forward half of the ground. But in the VFL, he's really shown that forward ability and that ability to kick goals from that midfield area. And when he's come into the seniors this year, we have seen the same from Luke Parker. And he is definitely one here that I am looking at, if I was Cowan's list manager, North Melbourne's, Essendon's, that we haven't quite got this on the list. So having him there for a year, maybe 2 years, while we draft one in maybe with our first round pick or a bit later on, someone to learn off and really add some traits and a real culture building little thing with it, the knowledge he can pass out. He is a Victorian boy, remember, he's a Dandenong lad. At 32 years old, there isn't a lot of footy left, but this could be an option you go down to say, right, look, let's hopefully we can fast track some of our young kids and really learn it. Because Luke Parker, on his day, I think he's one of the best players in his position. Statistically, he's a kick-ass little player. And I think that this is something he's got a little bit of grit about it. He's a little bit determined. Looks a bit frustrated as Sydney, with that tribunal suspension as well. I think this is an option here that he's not going to cost him a lot. I think it'd be a late second, maybe an early third. This could even be one of them ones that gets pushed out till the end. And depending on what Sydney do, they may look to give him away on a decent price as well. You can maybe even milk a third out there. I'm a big fan, though, of Luke Parker, and these are really rare type finds, and especially if you're getting into the late second, third category, and you need one now, like a Cowan, could be an option. But that is the guys that we're looking at. Let me know some that you're thinking of. We'll be late tonight. We will be live. We're going to be doing like a little AFL, just a little bit of a kickback. We're going to talk about, I've got planned just talking about the sides that have missed the finals. We'll look at their season and maybe talk about what they're looking for. But peace, love and light. Bye out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.